What about the Beltway? The Beltway that they're talking about going up around.
It's not a part of our zoning
discussion.
It was within our comp plan future land use map. It's not shown on here, but shown in our executive summary. And it's we showed a corridor, and that corridor is the study area, environmental assessment stage, and that's what we.
Question: agricultural transition.
Okay. That area is an area we expect to not see new development occur while still in unincorporated Polk County. We expect to see those areas as the growth areas of, in that case, Altoona, Pleasant Hill, Ankeny. That we don't expect to see a lot of development in the county happen in those areas. Existing developments continue, permitted. We expect those areas to see sewer and public water, fire flow water available in those areas over the course of this plan, and to see the cities develop and grow into those areas.
So by zoning it agricultural transition, that basically opens it up to development.
No, it basically,
because then they are allowed to put in sewer and water and all those things that.
No, it's
help development.
No, it's setting it up to not promote leapfrog development. So say somebody a mile and a half east of Altoona wants to develop. The intent of this district is to not allow that development until such time.
Beyond that light green zone.
Into that light green. We don't expect to see development into that light green while in unincorporated Polk County without public service. So we don't.
Okay. So what allows? I mean, if the city wants to put in
right now it's showing it's still
water and sewer, what has to happen?
In order to promote or allow development, it would, from our plan, would be that area would have to be annexed, and then those utilities.
Okay, so but your plan, I mean your zoning doesn't have any bearing on what the city can and cannot do.
We can't dictate what the city does.
So what
we're saying,
what's the point of the plan?
We don't expect to see rural strip development along the frontage of existing public streets to occur in.
Okay, but the city can do what they want to do. I mean, if they can annex land and so on.
Yes.
Yeah, there's Enterprise. So First Street is going to go all the way over to 415. So they're looking at Kidman's tree farm. They're going clear over to
Oh, wow.
That's a long ways. If you count the 6,000 acres they've already annexed since 2003, they add another 1,867 on.
How many acres are in that? Prairie Ridge.
1,000. And then the Corporate Woods has, Corporate Woods over here has about 1,200. Most of that's undeveloped. Prairie Ridge is undeveloped at this point. They only count what's platted, though. When you ask them how many lots they have available, they only count what's platted. They don't count the 6,000 to 8,000 acres that they have annexed in. It's only what they've platted so far for subdivisions.
Platted means?
They've actually gotten the approval to turn it into residential. They've got the lots already on it. They've got a whole, out by me, this whole thing is, we got a church here, and then it would be a church here and here. But all of this has had street lights on it for over a year.
City Council for Monday, July 16th, 2007. And this is the time and place for a public hearing on the matter of the proposed voluntary and non-petitioned annexation of certain territory located within the northwest quadrant of Ankeny. Layman's description, approximately 1,584.92 acres plus or minus of land within the northwest quadrant of Ankeny, generally located north of Northwest 5th Street west of State Avenue and south of County Northwest 118th Avenue, Northwest 54th Street from the city, and approximately 282.54 plus or minus acres of land adjacent to petitioning parcels of public land and right-of-way within and adjacent to the annexation. Notices were mailed to affected property owners.
The specific area that's being discussed for annexation is outlined in the red. We've built more than 550 units per year. We do have quite a bit of inventory in the community today, but as we look at comprehensive planning and annexation, we like to think more long range than short term. So we believe that this inventory that's existing today will, the market will slowly use that up. We still ended the fiscal year this year with over 700 housing units for the fiscal year from June of 2006 through July, from July of 2006 through June of 2006.
My name is Paul Carlson. I live at 2502 Northwest 9th here in Ankeny. I'd just like to mention I've been present at several city council meetings when the room has been full of residents speaking against an annexation request, only to see you vote unanimously to approve it. And I have to tell you, as a rational person, it kind of seems kind of foolish to take my time to come up here and speak against it, but I do believe strongly in the issue of annexation. So I think this is a moral issue affecting generations to come. The land in question that was purchased by its owners knowing full well that it was outside the city limits, and there is plenty of property available for sale within both the city of Ankeny and within other urban areas in greater Des Moines. Therefore, I don't believe we have an obligation to the owners to accommodate their request to move our city limits out to them. In fact, the only reason I think that you should extend our boundary is if you're absolutely convinced that there is, or soon will be, a scarcity of urban property in greater Des Moines. A scarcity that would cause a housing shortage. If the scarcity doesn't exist, why is it in our best interest to create more infrastructure for Ankeny taxpayers to support? Many of us work in Des Moines and depend on their streets and police and their infrastructure. Does this development of relatively cheap farmland help or hurt Des Moines? Central Iowa has some of the best farmland on the planet. Doesn't depend on water sources that are drying up. Are you sure in 20 years we'll be better off with more concrete and less farmland? And are we being good neighbors to the folks that have lived in rural Iowa? If you have any doubt about the need to spread our infrastructure and condone the paving of farmland, vote no tonight. And instead you can work with other communities in greater Des Moines to determine if there is still a need to extend city infrastructure. And you could also ask residents of Ankeny just how much more growth they want in our city. Thank you very much.
Presenting Visions Investments today. Our office is located at 2806 Southeast Peachtree Drive in Ankeny. We are strongly in favor of this annexation, and by the way, we own this piece of ground right here. You see it? Right here, 64 acres right there. 18th Street has been finished and paved to the south of our piece of ground. I believe it's a great place to have people have their kids grow up in there, and schools are great and everything else. I don't live in this town, but I live just outside of the town. My brother lives in this town. Most of my family lives in this town, and I've been a part of this community my whole life. I don't live in this town, but I live